On January 22nd, 2006, Kobe Bryant became the second highest single game scorer in NBA history. Kobe Bryant went off for 81 points on 28 for 46 shooting, 7 for 13 from the 3, and 18 for 20 from the free throw line. After that performance, we thought nobody would ever reach those heights again. Nowadays, it seems like players are creeping up. Guys like Luka, Dame, Cat, all are seeing big game successes within the NBA. Will anybody ever come close? I'll tell you. What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Chipoverseas. Before we get into today's video, I want to make sure that you guys are subscribed and locked in. A lot of the people that are watching my content are not yet subscribed, so please make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get on with the video. In the last few years, we've seen players reach the heights, scratching the surface of what Kobe Bryant gave to us in that 81-point performance. 70 points, 73 points, 71, 69. Guys are getting close. And it had me thinking, is that 81-point mark unfathomable? Because I remember when it happened back in the day, it wasn't even a nationally televised game when Kobe went off. I was watching some other ESPN program and the notification for the game came on the bottom. Kobe Bryant just set an NBA record with 81 points in the game. So I remember it was a big deal. You know, Kobe was one of those guys that I think it's safe to say that was Kobe's era. 2006 to 09, LeBron was still a young pup coming up. You had guys like Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. Those are Kobe's peers, but because of the way he played, he was seen as like a top tier player. But when he hit 81, people thought that yeah, it was something that you wouldn't see again. Not for nothing, the guys that Kobe Bryant played with, they weren't the biggest of scorers. Like his competition, think about guys like Tracy McGrady. He didn't have such a long prime. Guys like Ray Allen, guys like Vince Carter. These were his contemporaries that he was pitted against as a shooting guard in the NBA, and he was a much more skilled scorer than those guys. Nowadays, you have a lot of dudes that can go off and get their own 50 pieces, 60 pieces. One specific example that we're gonna go through today is Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard already has 6 games with 60 points or more under his belt. If you put Dame in Kobe's time, he's looked at a little bit different because he can go and compete scoring-wise toe-to-toe with the Kobe Bryant. Whereas back in those days, you can tell by the way people were talking about Kobe, he was just seen as such an anomaly. So let's get into it. Is that 81-point mark unreachable? All right, first off, when you think about scoring 80 points in a game, you have to think that there's only a short list of players that are actually going to be able to shoot the ball as many times as you need in order to get 80. For Kobe, he shot the ball 46 times. 46 times. So it's a certain kind of person that's able to shoot around 40 times. You know, you don't need the most shots. Like a guy like Luka Doncic did it in 33 shots. So you don't need to shoot 40, but you have to, you're most likely going to have to take minimum 35 shots in order to get your 80. But when you talk about guys that can actually shoot the ball 35 to 40 times a game, you're talking about dudes that are in situations that they're not winning a lot. Steph Curry right now doesn't need to score 80 points to win a game. The thing about Kobe scoring 80, this is from Mo Peterson himself. He needed every one of those points in order to be competitive in the game. They ended up winning in overtime. Usually if somebody scores 60, 70, you see a lot of times they don't even play the last 4 minutes of the game. When Kobe scored 81 points, that was pre-Pau Gasol. His number 2 guy in the 81-point performance was Smush Parker. And Smush is my man. He's a friend of the channel. Me and Smush did a dope interview. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Smush was his number 2 that day. Smush took 12 shots that day. And this is why a lot of people looked at Kobe as an anomaly back then, because this was the time where if an NBA team scored 140 points, you would think that's like some triple overtime thriller. Like today, if a team scores 140 points, you don't even bat your eye. You're like, okay, yep, they hit a lot of threes. But back then, the Lakers were only averaging 97 points a game. 97 points. So he almost got the Lakers average in one game, which is insane to think about. But to go back to the point, in order to get those 40 shots off, you'll need to be the main option on the team, where nobody else is worried about getting shots. Your number 2 guy doesn't worry about shooting more than 12 shots. We're going to talk about all the guys that have scored 70 points in an NBA game within the last few years. One trend seems to be that their number 2 guy doesn't shoot more than 12 shots. Nowadays, it's all about the 1-2 punch. We talked about it on a previous video on this channel as well. Take Damian Lillard, for example. The night he went off for his 70 points, his number 2 was gone, right? So it was a specific situation. His number 2 was gone and his number 3 was gone. A player would have to be in that situation where it's just one of those nights. You know, your number 2 got a sore ankle. Your number 3 is out for 3-4 weeks. Another big thing that you have to factor in is that today it's the highlight culture. Everybody is worried about how they're perceived. After every game, people are looking online to see what the fans are saying. And even sometimes you see in the locker room at halftime, you see players checking their phone and make sure they're up to date with what people are saying about their games. People are so hyper aware, hyper conscious of the game. Nowadays, nobody wants to get torched. Nobody wants to be the guy that got dunked on. Nobody wants to be the guy that got crossed over and made the fool. We saw the game last night when the Lakers were playing against the Bucks and Bronny kind of crossed up Giannis a little bit, had him on skates, and then he goes in for a layup and Giannis is like, no, I'm fouling you. Because I'm not going to be that guy that's on your highlight tape going crazy against me. That just makes me look bad. So nowadays, people are so conscious about their defensive perception that it even bred stars defensively. Not saying that they weren't stars defensively before. However, like, we're kind of glorifying the guys that can get a little crazy, get a little cuckoo, and produce on high levels defensively, right? Like, think about the term two-way players. Like Drew Holiday. Think about Drew Holiday. We consider him now as a two-way player. When he first came into the league, who called him a two-way player? Like, that term, it was always there, but nobody really talked about it like that. Two-way player, 3-and-D. These are terms that there's a new emphasis on defense now. Look at a Dylan Brooks. He made a name. He made a career. He made a whole brand off of just being a great defensive player. I'm going to show you guys some clips about how people talked about Kobe Bryant when he dropped 80 on their heads. They thought it was fun. They thought it was cool. It's like they were giving Kobe props. Kobe's one of those guys. He was just seen as larger than life. Remember, even the guys that played with and against Kobe, they always give him the most respect. Nowadays, you don't really see that. Who's one player that everybody just gives all the respect to? Even LeBron is getting challenged. There's rookies coming in talking back to LeBron and saying side stories about, oh yeah, this one I busted his ass. So the reason why I think that a lot of players look at Kobe in a different light is because the way he was marketed when he came into the league. He came in as the heir to the throne of MJ. So they're kind of treating him with half that respect that they had for MJ. They're kind of just projecting it onto Kobe. So even in the game that he scored 81 points, guys were laughing. Jalen Rose can do a commercial. He's just laughing and talking about it. He can do interviews. He wrote a book about Kobe scoring 81 on him. Like, it's fun. Mo Peterson, he made some weird comments after the game that showed that although he's a competitor, it's like, oh, he gets a pass because he's Kobe. Guys don't have that kind of mentality when it comes to NBA players in today's day and age. Just look at the kind of reverence that Mo Peterson talked about Kobe scoring 81. This is like while he was still a player. He said in the second half, I remember him passing the ball to Lamar Odom and the ball going out of bounds, and he just kind of shook his head and he had that look in his eye. I'm about to shoot every time I get this and take over. And he obviously did. Even that comment on the surface is like he's just kind of giving props. But that's a weird thing to say about somebody that made you look crazy defensively, because all the attention was kind of on Mo Pete and Jalen Rose because they were the primary defenders. Even though if you break down the tape, he didn't give them all 81. He didn't even give them a combined 40 piece. But, you know, you're the primary defender. Nowadays, it's like, I feel like guys have a lot more pride. Peterson also had this to say. I locked him up a month before that, and he only had 11 points. People can say whatever they want, but he only averaged 45 that year, like he was doing everybody else. So you can see the mentality. It's like, all right, he killed me, but he killed everybody. And he'd give it up. I think that's like a lot of respect. There's a respect factor when it comes to that. Players nowadays ain't talking like that. They don't have that kind of respect. Look at Draymond Green. After every guy he faces against, if it ain't LeBron, he's crapping on him. He is such a student of the game. I talk to a lot of people about the game, and they always ask me, like, what did that feel like? And as a competitor, you definitely don't want to see that happen. He had 62 points in 3 quarters against Dallas. Guys don't have that kind of reverence for players nowadays. See, back then, guys low-key treated Kobe like he had some different type of aura around him. When it comes down to that 81-point game, Mo Peterson and Jalen Rose were literally fighting to be the reason that Kobe went off. Like, I'm the reason why Kobe went off. Jalen Rose had a story saying that I'm the one that got Kobe mad because I tried to injure him in the playoffs the year before. Mo Peterson has a story that goes, well, you know, I locked him up. He only had 11 points last game, and I'm the reason why he wanted to go off and go crazy. It's like two sons battling for the attention of the dad. You know, like the energy is a little bit weird with these older dudes. So I feel like now people are more conscious of records. People are more conscious of awards and players going for this, players going for that. If a guy legitimately has 60, 70 points in a game, even if the benches get cleared, and he's the only one in the game and the opposite team is full of their bench players, pride is going to kick in. This guy's not getting 50 on me. Look at LeBron James, the point that made him #1 in career total points. That first half against OKC was tough for Bron. Everything was earned. It wasn't just coming in to let LeBron have his moment and, all right, man, you know, he's LeBron. He's the best player of all time, man. This is him. The kind of grace that they gave Kobe in his last NBA game when he shot 50 times and got 60, they don't give that nowadays. And even Bron is a living legend. He gets treated like everybody else. Actually, the Thunder ended up winning that game. Right before LeBron scored the point, they were up in him and making everything hard for him. Right after he scored that point, Nothing changed. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the OKC Thunder was on him trying to get right. But let's look at some of the greatest performances scoring-wise that we've seen in the past few years. Luka Doncic. This is by far the best performance that we've seen since Kobe Bryant, scoring-wise. 73 points on 25 of 33 shooting. That's good for 75%. 8 of 13 from the 3. So if you're going to get in the 70-80 range, like, you need to be hot. I don't know if we're going to see anybody get this hot again, because 75% from the field on 33 shots. Come on, bro. That's like the equivalent of Shaq playing on rookie mode. Shaq going into the NCAA in his prime and just doing all dunks and hook shots. Like, he'd get those numbers. 15 to 16 from the free throw line, 45 minutes. Just for context, this is before Kyrie came to town, so he didn't really have a good number 2. And in this game, his second option was Josh Green and Tim Hardaway Jr. No disrespect to those guys. They're great players in their own right, but they're not number 2 and number 3 options. Then you got Donovan Mitchell. He went off for 22 of 34. Good for 64% from the field, 7 of 15 from the three-point line, right under 50%, 20 of 25 from the free throw line. He had no Garland. He had no Evan Mobley. That's the only situation that makes sense. And even then, I'm not sure that it can be done. Joel Embiid, he had 71 on 24 of 41% shooting. 1 for 2 from 3. That's super impressive, because remember the analogy I gave about Shaq going to the NCAA? Embiid is doing that in real time in the NBA. He went against an inexperienced San Antonio Spurs team where he had something to prove, because they're trying to give that best center in the world title to Victor Wembanyama. So he had a little fire under his belly, but still, that's so impressive. 21 of 23 free throws. We know he's a free throw merchant. You're going to need to get to the free throw line if you want to get 80. My bad for the background noise, y'all. I do live in New York City. Microphone's coming soon, though. Damian Lillard, he scored 71 points on 22 of 38 from the field, 13 of 22 from the three-point line, and 14 of 14 from the free throw line. As I mentioned before, he has 5 games with 60 plus. The points are definitely coming in bunches as a team, as a collective, with the addition and the surge of the three-point shooting. But I think that more so applies to the team numbers. Guys are gonna get hot. You're shooting that tray ball. Pace of the game is so fast now. They're having a lot of opportunities to shoot threes. You're gonna see a lot of guys creep up to that 80-point mark. I'm saying it now. If anybody can, it's going to be Luka Doncic. Luka is the one player that has the legitimate shot. If Luka can't do it, nobody in today's NBA can do it. Because you look at other dominant scorers like Giannis and Joel. These guys are big guys. So before they even get to the 75, 77-point mark, they're going to be totally wiped out physically. Even Joel Embiid, when he scored his 71, by the end of the game, he was a walking mummy. He could not lift his feet up because he's getting his buckets hard. Banging, make a lot of contact. When Luka's getting his 73, he's got a little energy at the end. If it's not Luka, I don't know who it's going to be. I can't see it. Maybe it's somebody coming up. One of the young up-and-coming phenoms that we're seeing today. But that's just me. You guys let me know what you think. Can somebody score 81 points again? Is it something that's attainable by today's NBA players? Let me know in the comments. But before I sign off, I want to give you guys this. If you like the video, like the video. If you got a comment on the video, comment on the video. And if you subscribe to me, I subscribe to you. Peace.